Well, hello everyone, and a very happy new year. I'm pleased to be back for another video. It's been a while. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about level 5. Now, level 5 is quite a hot topic in France at the moment because everybody wants it, particularly for Air France and various other companies. Now, I am convinced that a very large proportion of the people who come for a test and miss out on a level 5 don't miss out on the level 5 because there's anything really wrong with their English, but because they don't show everything that they are capable of doing. So this video is going to be all about exam technique, specifically when we're looking to get a level 5. So let's have a little look at what we can do. Now, for level 5, the two criteria where you can make the biggest difference through exam technique are structure and vocabulary. Now, in structure, I've talked about this before, but the most important thing in structure is to think about how you can introduce complex structures into your different test exercises. Now, complex structures are explained on the website. For those of you who haven't seen the website, the link is just here. You can go and have a look at it. And in vocabulary, the most important thing is to show not only that you have all of your basic aviation vocabulary, but that also your vocabulary is sometimes idiomatic, which is one of the requirements for a level 5. Okay, so let's have a look at this photo here. Now, as you know, on a new generation ELP test, the photo description is a very common exercise. So in this particular example, I can see a photo relating to damage to an aircraft. Now, from experience, I know that if I have a photo with damage to an aircraft and I want to include complex structures in my photo description, the two complex structures as listed in ICAO 9835 that I can try to use are the passive voice and the conditional. So the passive voice and the conditional for a photo like this are generally the best ones to use. So let's give it a try. So what we have here is a picture of an airliner of some kind, and we can see that the airliner has been hit by something, probably another aircraft. It is impossible to be sure, but I would imagine this aircraft has been hit by another aircraft. If I was the pilot in this situation, the first thing I would try to do is evacuate the passengers, make sure that the passengers were safe, and then I would try to call for assistance from the airport authorities. So as you can see, what I did in that particular exercise was I looked at the photo and I decided exactly which complex structures I wanted to include in my photo description. So I decided I wanted to use the passive voice, which is very useful for describing things which have happened or something which has been done to something at some time in the past. And I also made it, I made a special effort to include a conditional, an example of the conditional. So I said, if I was the pilot in this situation, I would something. And that is a very, very good way to force yourself to include a complex structure of some kind in your photo description. Okay, so here we have a photo of something which is currently ongoing, so presumably the loading of this PC-12 that we can see in this particular photo. So again, before I start my photo description, I'm going to look at my list of complex structures and decide which one I want to try and include. So things that are ongoing and actions in general is a good opportunity for us to use what we call a gerund in English, or the ing form of a verb, which can be used for a very large range of situations. So I'm going to describe this photo, and I picked the use of ing forms as my particular way of including complex structures. So let's go. So in this photo we can see a grey coloured PC-12 parked on an apron. The weather looks good, and we can see that the rear loading door is open, and just in front of the aircraft we can see a number of bags which would appear to indicate that the aircraft is in the process of being loaded. Now, safe loading is extremely important, because if an aircraft is not correctly loaded, it can lead to the aircraft becoming very difficult to control, particularly if the centre of gravity is too far aft in the aircraft. So there we go. So I've taken a particular scenario and I've tried to use the ing form. So there we go. In this particular one I decided to use the ing form as one of the complex structures that I want to demonstrate for my level 5. So again, when something is going on in a photo, it's generally a good opportunity to use an ing form, or what we call a gerund for those of you who are really interested in grammatical terminology. So generally speaking, when you practice describing photos, sometimes it's not just about the photo. Sometimes it is also related to the kind of structures that you use. So when you're practicing describing photos, as I know many people do before they take a test where a photo is involved, don't think just about the vocabulary in the photo, but think about what's required for a level 5, namely the complex structures. Look at the list of official complex structures, either in ICAO Doc 9835, or look in the look on my website. I have the Encyclopedia of Complex Structures. Look at some photos that you think you might see during a test, and try to, for each photo, try to include, I would say, at least 2 examples of complex structures. So there we have another set of examples of how you can improve your aviation English and also improve your score on ELP, or as we say in France, FCL.055 tests. And as I said at the beginning, one of the key things when people unfortunately don't manage to get the level 5 when they're hoping for one is a question of exam technique. So hopefully by using the correct technique you should increase your chances of getting a better grade. Thanks very much for listening. It's always a pleasure to make these videos as always, and please do feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. Take care. Bye bye.